How many cigarettes would it take to end you? Picture your body as a small, busy city. Your heart is the power station. Your lungs are the air factory. Your blood vessels are the highways. And your brain is the mayor, making sure everything runs smoothly. Every second, this city works hard to keep you alive. Now imagine lighting a cigarette. The moment you take that first breath of smoke, it's like opening the city gates and letting in a crowd of tiny troublemakers. Not enough to destroy the city instantly, but enough to start causing damage. Slowly, quietly, repeatedly. And that leads us to the big question. How many cigarettes before the city collapses? Let's walk through it in the simplest way possible. A cigarette looks harmless. Just paper, tobacco, a filter. But when it burns, it creates more than 7,000 chemicals. Some are poisonous gases, some are sticky tar, some are microscopic burning particles, and one of them is nicotine. Nicotine is like a sneaky little trickster. It rushes to your brain and says, "Hey, I feel good. Want more?" Your brain remembers that feeling, and soon it asks for it again. That's how a habit starts. Not with danger, but with a tiny reward. And speaking about tiny rewards, why don't you slap that like button? Pretty please. So what happens after just one cigarette? The smoke travels down into your lungs. Inside your lungs are tiny hair-like cleaners called cilia. Their job is to sweep out dirt and dust, but cigarette smoke burns and paralyzes them. So the cleaning system shuts down. At the same time, your heart starts beating faster. Your blood vessels tighten. Your blood becomes thicker. It's like turning smooth highways into narrow traffic jams. One cigarette doesn't destroy the city, but it leaves behind a little damage, a little scar, a tiny crack in the system. Now you might wonder, could a single cigarette ever instantly kill someone? For most healthy adults, the answer is no. Cigarettes release nicotine slowly, not in one deadly burst. But here's the truth. Nicotine is still a poison. In high enough doses, it can stop breathing. It can stop the heart. But the real danger of cigarettes isn't instant death. It's slow death, like rust spreading on metal, like water slowly weakening a wall, like termites quietly eating a house from the inside. So is there a number? A certain count where the body simply gives up? Here's the honest answer. There is no exact number, because every city is built differently. Some hearts are stronger, some lungs are healthier, some genes repair damage better, some people start young, some start old. But science gives us a terrifying statistic. About half of long-term smokers die from smoking-related diseases. Half. Imagine flipping a coin. Heads, you live. Tails, smoking eventually ends your life. That's the gamble every long-term smoker takes. Let's see how the city falls apart piece by piece. First, the lungs. Your lungs are filled with tiny air sacs, like balloons. Their job is to bring in oxygen and send out carbon dioxide. Smoke fills these balloons with tar. Sticky, dark, stubborn tar. Over time, the balloons lose their stretch. Some collapse. Some scar. Some fill with junk. Breathing becomes harder. Walking feels tiring. Climbing stairs feels impossible. This leads to diseases like chronic bronchitis, emphysema, and lung cancer. Eventually, the air factory fails, and the city begins to suffocate. Next, the heart. Smoking makes blood thicker and stickier. Blood vessels grow narrower and stiffer. The heart now has to push harder just to keep things moving. Over years, fat and plaque build up inside the vessels, like trash clogging city pipes. One day, a vessel blocks completely. No blood reaches the heart. That's a heart attack. The power station shuts down, and without power, the city goes dark. Then comes the brain. The brain needs clean blood and plenty of oxygen. But smoking damages the vessels that feed it. Clots become more likely, blockages more common. That can cause a stroke. Suddenly, the mayor loses control. Speech disappears. Movement fails. Memory fades. Sometimes recovery is impossible. And then there's the immune system. Your body has tiny guards constantly fighting off infections and repairing damage. Cigarette smoke weakens them. So infections hit harder, wounds heal slower, and cancer cells are more likely to grow unnoticed. The city's defenses fall asleep. Here's the scariest part. You don't feel most of this happening. You don't feel arteries narrowing. You don't feel DNA mutating. You don't feel lung tissue dying cell by cell. Damage builds silently. Until one day, something big happens. A bad scan result. A sudden heart attack. A diagnosis you never expected. By the time you notice the danger has already been inside you for years. Some people say, my grandfather smoked every day and lived to 90. And yes, that happens. But that's luck, not safety. Some people drive without seatbelts and survive crashes too. That doesn't mean it's a good idea. For every lucky smoker, there are millions who lose their breath, lose years of life, lose battles with cancer, Lose the ability to walk without gasping. Luck is not a health strategy. So now we return to the question, how many cigarettes would it take to end you? Not one. Not instantly. Not like a dramatic movie scene. But enough cigarettes over enough time can break down your lungs, strain your heart, damage your brain, weaken your defenses, until one day your body can't hold together anymore, and it shuts down. Not suddenly, but slowly, quietly, predictably. But this story can change, because your body is not helpless. When you stop smoking, after 20 minutes, your heart rate improves. After a few days, oxygen levels rise. After months, lungs start cleaning themselves again. After years, disease risks drop dramatically. So the real answer isn't a number. Cigarettes don't usually end you all at once. They end you slowly. One breath, one habit, 1 year at a time. Which means the real question isn't, how many cigarettes would end you? It's, how many chances at a healthy life are you willing to burn away?